Zombies player, you recognise that this is originally found in Call of the Dead, and is one of 2 items required by Richtofen to complete his grand scheme on the moon. Classified wall scribble tells you in clear black and white that our characters are going to use the elemental shard as well as the golden rod in order to enter Argatha and destroy it, thus explaining why our characters retrieved the elemental shard in Alpha Omega. Now, if you are curious on what the way through means,
these are the people who make Gentleman Jack. Cultured. Refined. Just kidding. They're the same folks who make old number 7. They simply take the time to mellow it twice. Gentleman Jack, from the makers of Jack Daniels.
Means this is also referenced in a Purnell radio in Alpha Omega, which is a personal diary log where he is going crazy from the voice and the Shadow Man who want him to find a way through, a gateway, fast lane to reach the ether. But at the time he found
welcome to the stream, guys.
Richtofen's journal of a backup plan to build a device, but he didn't have
I'm playing some Naucht and Untoten today.
Because they didn't exist.
And yeah, I'm doing the series where I do every single zombies map, just relax and chill, give you guys some gameplay with it.
Because we need the golden rod. The next clue is that wherever we're going,
if you're in the chat and you're wondering if I can play with you, if you have Zombies Chronicles, just hit me up in the chat and I'll play with you.
Icicles and ice cold water. In Classified, we can find a secret cipher from a future version.
I'm just watching your videos while I do it, so.
Humongous hint towards what's going to happen for the narrative by the ending of our DLC 4 map. It reads cough, field report, heavy cough. I don't know why I'm doing this. Is anyone even receiving me? If you are, then all hope is lost. I'm the last one. The others, they're gone. We failed. I don't know if there are multiple outcomes or if this has always been the only one. No matter what we do, what we fix, we still end up here. This time travel sugar. Multiverses, sugar fries your brain. I hope Richtofen established contact with the others, woke them up. It's the only way now. It's up to them. Damn, it's cold. Very cold. Not much time left now. Now, straight away, there is some things to pick out from that, particularly towards the end, saying I hope Richtofen established contact with the others, woke them up. It's the only way now. This can be one of 2 things. The first could be that this could be a reference all the way back to the intro cutscene of the Giant, where our 3 Primus characters, minus Primus Richtofen, travel to the Giant to awaken the test subjects, as you can see right here.
There is a chain of events that must be set in motion. The future hangs by a thread. We must awaken the test subjects.
Now, if that's what this cutscene was referencing a whole 4 years ago, I think we will all have our minds blown. The other idea when you hear test subjects is the Victor's crew. First learning of Cypher and Gorod Krovi that the Victor's crew have been placed in stasis on ice, having samples of their blood extracted from them, and we physically see what we think is that description in Blood of the Dead. Now, there's no explanation as to how they left Blood of the Dead, but they 100% have from a phone call that Stuhlinger has inside of Classified. Now, this is the thing that's going to blow your mind here, because what's the one thing that Blood of the Dead and Call of the Dead have in common? They both have a lighthouse. Now, at first you might not think this is a big deal whatsoever, but in Blood of the Dead, the lighthouse is the sole reason why Stuhlinger
I'm gonna invite a friend to play.
Richtofen in his head. The lighthouse triggered a chain reaction in the ether, which allowed Stuhlinger to hear all sorts of 3-key chatter in his head. Now, I'm not saying that the Call of the Dead lighthouse will also possess the same ability. The lighthouse is pretty important inside of Call of the Dead for that Easter egg quest, and the Stuhlinger radio message is directed purely to Richtofen, which is only possible by that lighthouse. And take a listen to where exactly Stuhlinger is in this phone call.
Hello? Is this thing on? Richtofen! Hey, Richtofen! It's been gone from my head a really long time! I gotta be honest. Freak it out a bit, man. It's so quiet. I can actually hear myself think. You know what that's like? It's not nice at all. So, listen, buddy. Old pals, we gotta talk. You sent us here, of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark. It's damp. It's really filthy. I think the roaches are crawling with roaches. How is that even possible? Wait. Shoot. Am I even talking to the right Richtofen? Oh. It could be the other one, right? Or the other one. You know who I gang clubhouse.
Somewhere dark and damp and filthy. Now, if we were relating this to Call of the Dead, the only place that would match a dark and damp description would be that vault door that the original Ultimate crew are stuck behind during the main Easter egg. Might be a little bit of a stretch, but the coincidences with the lighthouse definitely isn't. Let's talk about the one Dr. Max's phone call that you can hear inside of Classified. It describes the 3 members of the Ultimus crew being blinded fools by Ultimus Richtofen, sheep being herded by a false shepherd. The most intriguing part is the fact that he directly references things that happen in Call of the Dead.
The amount of element 115 he pumped through them, I'm surprised any of them survived Siberia.
Now, Treyarch didn't have to mention this little bit of information. Sure, that's where the original 3 Ultimus crew were experimented on in the original storyline, but I definitely think this is Treyarch being very cheeky here, throwing this reference in as potential foresight into the future DLC. And this isn't the only time Siberia has been mentioned in Black Ops 4, because Nikolai quotes it in Alpha Omega right here.
Nevada, very hot, like evil Siberia.
And let's not forget as well, he also references a lighthouse.
I am here to remind us all, Takio. Like lighthouse before tempestuous sea, I will steer us away from rocks.
Now again, could be just coincidental, but I definitely think Treyarch are throwing us a bit of a bone here. The biggest piece
where the hell are the zombies
by
at?
Treyarch in our faces is that on Zombie Chronicles Ascension, the telephone's Easter egg has been changed to no longer hear the presidents on the phone, but to hear the Ultimus crew stuck in Call of the Dead.
Hi, Takeo. Yeah, how you doing? See on some puke? That we're picking up? You're not saying thank you? Nothing? You know why? 'Cause you're a little shit.
Now, if this isn't the most obvious hint yet by Treyarch, and it isn't Call of the Dead, then I will eat my shoelace. Because what Treyarch tried to do with Zombie Chronicles was have it as an alternative timeline to the one that we played in the original games, thus enabling to rewrite the cycle and to subtly hint that these remakes were on the way and that story changes are happening. There was even a new discovered Easter egg where you can get the song from Call of the Dead to play in Ascension. This Easter egg was in there since day 1, and we didn't discover this for over 2 years, which is crazy. Now let's take it back a notch and make this even more obvious, okay? Pretty much most of Alpha Omega was already built and in the game on day 1 because it's the Nuketown Island from Blackout. Despite a few reworkings here or there, basically the entirety of the bunker section is identical to Blackout, as is most of the outside section. Now, the lighthouse from Call of the Dead is one of the main aspects of the map, and that has been in the game since day 1 as well. And it's the entire playable space of the original lighthouse. Now, if that's not obvious enough, then I don't know what is. But not only that, but Treyarch have just added some new Blackout characters, with one of them being Danny Trejo, who was one of the original 4 celebrities in Call of the Dead. Now when you compare this to some other additions that they've had recently, such as Rustman, Misty, this is a really random zombies character to just throw it into the game for no reason. They've had to do brand new full body scans as well as record voice lines for Blackout. There is no way that it can be a bad idea to suggest that he's also been in the studio to do stuff for zombies and perhaps could make a slight cameo in a new version of Call of the Dead. Obviously, one of the main points of Call of the Dead was George Romero. Sadly, he's not with us anymore, so I doubt he would have any huge role to play within the remake, besides being referenced. But yeah, as soon as I saw that Danny Trejo was added into Black Ops 4, that already sent some suspicious alarm bells ringing about Call of the Dead. Another strange thing is, right now, if you drop into Blackout Alcatraz, you have Not Ready to Die, the Easter egg song in Call of the Dead, playing to get you amped up. There's no real reason this is in the game apart from the fact that M Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold is also in the game. But of course, the first song they ever wrote for Black Ops was Not Ready to Die, which was featured in Call of the Dead. And the band are even selling Not Ready to Die merchandise right now, which is really strange because that obviously had huge reference to Call of the Dead. Like, at this point, there's just so many parts of Call of the Dead featured within different aspects of the game that it makes absolute sense for them to just go ahead and actually bring the map into the game. But I've still got a little bit more for all of the narrative and lore that can be tied up here. Now, we learn inside of Alpha Omega that the Elemental Shard has powers to not only restore people from the dead, but restore their soul and mind. And that's something that's very different to normal Element 115, which simply reanimates the dead, while this brings the dead back to their full human restoration. And funnily enough, in Call of the Dead, it features a wonder weapon which ties in very, very similar to the elemental shard, being the VR-11, which if you shoot at a zombie, it transforms them into a human, which is literally the exact same powers as the elemental shard, but as a weapon. If Treyarch wanted to go down the route of exploring the origins of the VR-11, then right here is the perfect way to explain it. The last thing I'm going to mention as in-game evidence is on Revelations. There is a series of radios from a woman called Sally, who I believe was George Romero's assistant during the filming of the film Call of the Dead. And she's been there 6 weeks after the disappearance of the cast and crew in Call of the Dead, giving us a very first look at what a future potential Call of the Dead remake could entail. And she also references our 4 Ultimus characters as well, which is very, very interesting. There we go. Our main premise is we're going to be taking the elemental shard from Alpha Omega, as well as the golden rod from the Call of the Dead remake, to enter our fast lane into the ether. So our DLC format will be a best of both worlds. We get a remake of Call of the Dead, as well as a section for brand new map to be made by us entering the ether and destroying Dr. Monty once and for all. We do know one ending will involve us going to the ether and the house, as depicted in this Call of Duty Zombies comic screen right here. And we do also see it in the Chronorium during the Alpha Omega intro before it gets mysteriously wiped from the book. But whatever happens, 100% the plot line that we have set up is we will need the golden rod, and the most obvious location it will be is in Call of the Dead, where we first found it in the zombie storyline. It's also a very, very fitting way to end our story. There's a location in which our Ultimus Dempsey, Takio,
Yo.
Nikolai first met for the first time, being experimented on with Element 115 by Ultimus Richtofen. And it's also referenced by one of the first ever zombie radios in Shinonuma, which gives off coordinates of the Tunguska River. A meteorite of Element 115 was found, which is just near Siberia. A lovely way to end the story by referencing one of the very first locations in Zombies story history. It'd be super interesting as well to learn any brand new info about Pablo Marinas, as he was the Mexican test subject who died in Siberia, and in an alternative universe died in Der Eisendrache, but he was there in the 1300s, saved by our Primus crew during the Great War. Tons of cool story stuff which can be explained in this, but I'm going to throw it over to you guys. I want to know any and all of your opinions and thoughts on this in the comments section. Are you happy by the idea that a Call of the Dead remake will be our final ether map, or would you rather it just be a brand new map to really finalize everything, since this really will be the ending of the ether story as we know it? Let me know either way, but if you enjoyed the video, your mind was blown at any point, I would love for you guys to drop a like rating if you haven't already. If you're new around here and you haven't yet already subscribed, make sure you do so to keep yourself notified of any and all news about Black Ops 4 Zombies and Modern Warfare news. And if you are subbed, be sure to click that bell and make sure you've got all notifications turned on. That way you'll never miss an upload of one of my videos. But thank you so much for watching. If you've made it all the way through to the end, you guys are absolute legends. I can't thank you all enough for the support recently, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys hopefully in the next one. Hey guys, Tim here. Welcome back to the evolution of COD Zombies, part 2. Sort of, not really. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check that out. After this, alright, you don't gotta click off, you're already here. You may as well enjoy this video first, but then go watch that, because you'll understand this more. In that video, I played every single Treyarch Zombies map chronologically.
No scope.
The challenge to tag along
No
that
scope.
video was every time I got hit by a zombie, I had to switch to the next map. It was a very interesting video. I happened to get to around 15 on Ascension, which was my highest. My lowest was on 9, with a
prompt round 0. This video is going to be very similar to that one. I am going to be doing the 1-box challenge on every single zombies map. If you don't know what the 1-box challenge is, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm allowed to spin the box once, and that is it. Whatever I get is what I get, no returns. And there are quite a few rules that I am choosing to implement into this. You don't have to. Rule number 1, no Perca-Colas. Rule number 2, no gobblegum or elixir. Rule number 3, no wall weapons of any sort. Guns, grenades, whatever it is. Bowie knives, don't care. And no double pack-a-punch when we get to those newer Call of Duties. I want to make this as bare bones as possible, and I want to make it about me and my skill. It's going to be interesting to see which guns we get on which maps and what our highest round and what our lowest round are going to be. I do have a surprise for you guys at the end of the video. Definitely watch the whole thing through. Don't skip. Alright, don't skip to get to the surprise. Alright, you just ruin it. But obviously, with a video of this length, I don't expect everyone to stay through the whole thing. Definitely leave a like. This is going to be hell. Fun hell, but hell. I'm pretty sure I covered all the rules. If there is something down the line, I will address it, when we cross that bridge. But for now, we're going to start off with World at War, Naucht, Untoten, of course, and Shget it. Here we are. I am very excited to see which gun we get. We can't purchase any wall guns. Alright, we can't get any perks. I know there are none anyways, but, can't get no pack-a-punch machine either. This is actually... Look at that moves. Did no move. The one-hit challenge in the other video was far more difficult than this is going to be. I already know it, and therefore, this is going to be a lot longer since I'll be able to survive longer. So really, all we're looking to do here is open up this door, spin the box, grab what we get, and survive. That's really it. Hopefully we don't get any sneakers, alright? Zombies that sneak up on you. I didn't mean shoes. I was contemplating on dialing down the game music and putting in my own, but I figured that would take...
He's a reaper. Hey, buddy. What you on? What are you about to play?
I said I'm about to play BO3.
You trying to play zombies?
If you want, I'm down for whatever.
Bet.
You streaming?
Yeah. I was just doing Naucht. I'm doing a series of how to do every zombies map on BO3. And that's about it. Once a day.
Favorite stream origins or what? Double stream it?
I don't care, bro. I really don't. But the brekkie right now feels so satisfying.
How long you been on? Right.
Sucky, sucky, mother. Honest. One.
Not today. Like later.
Okay.
Oh, innovation.
Nice.
I got 3 of them in a row, dude.
Going crazy.
Way more liquid than me. Yo, did you see what happened when we updated BO4?
No.
You don't need PlayStation Plus to play online like that.
You don't? That's lit.
That's because my brother didn't have PS Plus, I was on BO4 yesterday, and he was playing online. Like, what the hell are you doing in the world?
Oh, why did I just pick that up? Fuck what? Zombies are so slow. This kind of looks so good with this camo. Yeah, this is gonna look so good with this camo. Locust.
Yo, are you sure?
Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna end it in a second. I'm sure that's a mystery box 2 more times. RPK. I'm gonna close that real quick.